Views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, we do encourage you to like and share them on Facebook. Look for WPSL TV on YouTube for the archives. It's time for the Sue Ellen Sanders Show with Sue Ellen Sanders.
And welcome to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. We're so glad you're here. I'm excited to have with me two women who are planning a special event that's coming up right around the corner that we're going to be talking about, but also to talk about the St. Lucie Cultural Alliance. Probably a couple of years ago, I had somebody who came on and talked about it when it was first getting started. Aliana Ash is the executive director of the St. Lucie Cultural Alliance. And I'm going to give you just a minute, well, probably more than just a minute, but as long as you want, to talk about what the Cultural Alliance is and what it means to St. Lucie County. And then we are also going to be talking to my other guest, who's Dina Rahill, who is a certified sound practitioner. And she's going to talk to us about mindfulness and the science behind mindfulness. And then we're going to be talking about the Art and Mindfulness Festival that is coming up right around the corner. So let's start off by welcoming Aliana. Welcome.
And thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it a great deal.
So give us a little bit of background about the Cultural Alliance. What is it and why do we need to know about it?
So St. Lucie Cultural Alliance, as you mentioned, has been around in various forms and shapes for quite some time now. It has gone through a rebirth process, I would say, a few years ago, and came back. It's coming back with a vengeance. So the purpose of the Alliance is to nurture the cultural landscape, to help our local artists, to make sure that people are aware how much talent we have here in St. Lucie County, and to promote and support our cultural community.
And one of the things that bothers me the most is when somebody who's lived here for very many years say, oh, we don't have any art or culture in St. Lucie County. What? We have so much. You just don't know about it. And
Exactly.
That's the landscape that you plan to continue changing
And making everybody aware of how much talent we do have here. Mm-hmm. It's not just the folks who live here in the county who might not know exactly how rich we are in our cultural community, but also folks outside the state or just outside of the county. So that's part of the reason why this festival is so important to us and why we're calling it the Treasure Coast Arts and Mindfulness Festival, because we are not only showing people who live and work here, but we're also bringing additional artists to our county. We have beautiful galleries and tons of visual artists who work and make this county so much richer and make the quality of our life so much better because of their work. Even during the pandemic, we had galleries opening up when most other places they were shutting down. So in that sense, between the visual and performing artists, we do have an abundance of fantastic artists who live here.
When you talk about culture and arts, you're talking about a lot of different types of arts. Let's take a minute just to talk about those type of arts.
So we have visual artists, of course, we have enormous amount, very talented and very diverse in their styles. Everything from painting to sculpture to jewelry to fiberglass to pottery. So in that sense, we do have a lot of artists in that for the visual arts component. We have numerous dance companies, everything from ballet to Martin, orchestras and pop music. I mean, theater companies between the universities and what we have at Mid-Florida Event Center. We have enormous amount of talent in that regard. The Mid-Florida Event Center has, which is located in where we're going to be having our festival. They have tons of different festivals that are taking place, concerts, exhibitions, you name it.
And when we talk about arts, of course, we're talking about the performing arts, as you said, the visual arts. And there's a lot of that is already here that people may not be aware of, that this festival will bring awareness to, and it will bring mindfulness as well. Right, Dina?
That is correct. That is correct. Mindfulness.
So what is the science of mindfulness? How does that work?
Well, let me share at least the definition. I mean, the science, there's so many modalities. So mindfulness is the process of bringing one's attention, to the experience and maintaining the moment by moment. And it's an awareness of our thoughts, feelings, our bodily sensations, and the surrounding environment. And it's a natural for the artist to be in that moment, because as they're creating, it's downloading from source, from universe, and it's coming through them and being displayed on the canvas, whether it's ceramics. So it is part of the energy field and the universe. So mindfulness is being present, is being right there in the moment. Yoga is being in the moment, being aware of your breath. So I am the creator of the High Mindfulness Forums, and our mission statement was to provide a wide variety of high quality mindfulness modalities. It's elevating your consciousness, it's bringing awareness to your heart, it's just being present.
Well, Aliana, let's go back to you, because the pairing of art and mindfulness is a natural one.
Absolutely.
And the festival, which, by the way, takes place Saturday and Sunday, May 22nd and 23rd, at the Mid-Florida Event Center, is to focus on that pairing. So let's talk about how this came about and what people can expect on Saturday and Sunday.
The idea of combining it with arts and mindfulness just seemed like such natural, especially as we are coming out of the pandemic, where people were so isolated. Being able to bring us into the moment, like Dina was saying, and combining it with a visual and artist component, it felt right. And it all evolved from that point on extremely organically. The more we talked about it, the more people were coming out of the woodwork saying, hey, how about this? And we would add the yoga component to it, or the Reiki component to it, or of course the crystals and sounds. I mean, there's so many different elements to it. So one of the things that Dina is going to be doing at the festival, for instance, she's going to be doing the sound while we have a live painter interpreting the sounds that Dina is creating, and the visual and the dancer that's going to be doing an interpretation of that. So we're trying to be, and all of that again evolved so organically and naturally by talking to the artists and to the mindful practitioners. Those ideas began to gel. It's our first annual. It's going to be an inaugural festival, so we're very excited about bringing a different type of fest to the region and to our county, of course. But it's really neat to see those components really come together. It's like an amazing jigsaw puzzle, and all of a sudden it's creating this amazing image.
And it's coming all together. And Dina, I just want to let you know, I think the dings are coming from you and your cell phone.
No, not that I have it on silent.
Or somebody, okay, because somebody has something that keeps dinging.
Sure.
So I don't know who it is, but talking about mindfulness and sound, that's something that, we might want to correct so we could move forward and be in our own little world of the radio show.
And if I may share, Sue Ellen,
yes.
When I start a sound meditation or sound bath, I say all the sounds, including silence, is part of this sound session. So all the sounds are part of it. They're part of the frequency. They're there at the right time at the right space. But we will shut our phones for this particular sound therapy.
So it's interesting what you said about even silence is a sound. Kind of the way when you're talking about colors, even black and white are colors.
Correct. And if we want to go deeper, we don't have to, but color has sound. So we're not going to go into that science, but that is beyond this conversation. So what Eliana was saying is I'll be playing a set of crystal bowls, and I'll probably bring a few drums. So while Lisa, Jill Allison, she will be painting live while I'm playing the crystal bowls, and I will follow her energy. So that's something I'll be feeling. It's not something we've practiced. It's going to be improvised and felt on the spot in front of everybody. Her art and my sound. So it's a combination of feeling and energy.
So what she's painting is going to be reflected audibly in what you're accompanying.
And vice versa, whatever I am playing will also inspire her to continue or to flow or to increase. I don't know a flower, I don't know what the intention is, but who knows what it will bring out of her.
That sounds fascinating. And, you all, you're going to have, other than the types of things that are going on that combine the art and the mindfulness, you also have a lot of different artists who are going to be either performing or displaying as part of the festival. You want to talk a little bit about that, Aliana?
Sure. So the festival is going to start off actually with a guided meditation. So we want to get everybody in a feel of the festival. We're going to have yoga for kids and for adults, a drum circle as well for entertainment, belly dancing. Some of the other things that we're going to include, we'll also have several dance companies. So Preston Contemporary Dance Company is going to be here, as well as Wing to Fly. So those are the things that are going to be taking place on stage. We'll have a special tent for mindfulness meditation and a kids corner. And for Kids Corner, we're collaborating with one of our members, Oxbow Eco Center.
Awesome.
That's going to be fantastic. So they're going to be working with kids to teach them about the environment and their surroundings, which is, again, such a strong component of being mindful.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure the kids realize, and it's also not foreign. So working with Oxbow Eco Center is very, very important to us.
Go ahead.
No, please.
I was going to say, let's talk for a minute just about the fact that, if we haven't noticed, we've had a pandemic for the last year. So people's stress levels have just been through the roof. And you are looking at one way to relieve stress is through the art and mindfulness. So, the yoga, the art, the performances, all of these things, they feed the soul. And everybody's soul right now needs a lot of food.
Absolutely.
And, these are opportunities to also do, during the pandemic, people stayed home, they researched, they were left to their own devices. So they Googled things, or they looked at things that, well, maybe this would be interesting. I'm not so alone. They were isolated. So they looked into meditation, sound vibration. I know for a fact that people would tell me, as I was providing a virtual weekly sound on Facebook, they would say, you know what, you helped me so much during that time. I was by myself and I listened to your recordings on YouTube. And then, just knowing that you can bring some comfort. And the purpose of it all is to downshift this nervous system. Because if not, your body keeps dumping adrenals, cortisol, and these are poisonous, but necessary when you're running away from a tiger. But we're not running from a tiger all day long. And what happens is those are toxic hormones that keep dropping in your body that causes you to have inflammation, pains and aches. And all these modalities reduce stress and also ignite that feel-good feeling that we all have innately in us. So there's a combination.
So are both days going to be the same, or people are going to want to attend either Saturday or Sunday, or do you want to just plan for popping in and out all weekend?
We encourage people to come back. We're going to have different activities throughout each day, and they're going to be different on each day. So the more they come, the more they will enjoy. a variety of different activities that are going to be taking place throughout the festival.
The festival itself, again, that May 22nd and May 23rd takes place between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. And, you know, we did mention the pandemic, which we're definitely getting closer to the light at the end of the tunnel there. What do you have in place that's going to help people feel comfortable and not stressed about being around other people?
Well, first of all, the event is outside. So
yes,
that solves most of the problems.
Mhm.
We'll make sure the tents are far enough in between so there's social distancing. Masks will be encouraged, but the fact that we're going to be outdoors is going to solve most of the problems.
Mhm. Well, good.
And there's a wide area that we're going to be spreading people and the tents around, so we'll make sure that there is plenty of social distancing taking place at the festival.
That's awesome. And I know that, you know, the masks are encouraged if you're going to be in a situation where you can't be 6 feet away from somebody else. But such a high percentage of the public is now immunized, that there's a different level of comfort. And as Dina said, the comfort in being around people in a safe, nurturing environment is something that we're all looking forward to. I liken it to like the situation where the house falls on the Wicked Witch of the West and all the munchkins are coming out and they're like looking around and make sure everything is safe. And that's kind of, I look around at some of the events, which very much so are being done in a safe environment, especially an outdoor event. And I see people releasing that sigh of relief that, you know, that they can get back to some sense of normalcy like this. So what artists can we expect to see? What other types of artists can we see?
Well, we're thrilled that a lot of our members who are part of the St. Lucie Cultural Alliance will be representing there as well. John Phillips is a fantastic photographer. He's going to have an entire traveling gallery at the festival called Photoscapes, and his artist photography is absolutely breathtaking. Our International Film Festival is going to have representation there as well. So we'll be giving away some passes for the film festival. It's going to be taking place in the fall. Before I go on, there's something else that I want to mention.
Sure.
I think I mentioned that this is going to be a major fundraising event for the Cultural Alliance to support our artists in the community. And one of the ways we're going to be doing that is by having a raffle going out throughout the festival. So many of our vendors have donated a piece of art or something that represents them that we're going to be able to raffle off. And then all the proceeds from that will go again into the granting pot for our artists.
We like to use the expression opportunity to win on the radio.
Absolutely, opportunity to win.
Yes. And so everybody will be able to possibly purchase an opportunity to win that supports our local artists.
Exactly.
And then the types of prizes you will be winning will be art too. So it's a win-win for everybody. So you mentioned the photography exhibit that's going to be there. Do you have your other artists that will be exhibiting as well?
Absolutely. There's another fantastic artist that's going to be part of this festival who craves books. So she has this beautiful concept of cutting out some pages of the books that turn into an art as well. Kath Estromera does that, and it's absolutely very unique and different and just very breathtaking. Visual artists such as painters, many painters are going to be there as well, including Painted Ladies and Susan Miller's Fine Art, among many others. We're also going to have vendors that represent the mindfulness component. So natural products such as oils are going to be there, candles that are made handmade, cleaning products that are made out of eco-friendly materials that are also very safe. Just to mention a few.
Mhm.
Representatives from Paint and Chill will be there. Plate Chicks will be there as well. So lots of jewelry, both in terms of natural handmade jewelry and those that have crystals represented there. So those are some of the things that we're going to be featuring at the festival.
And it will be, if you haven't been familiar in the past with the St. Lucie Cultural Alliance, it'll be a wonderful introduction for you to see. If you're an artist and you're not part of the alliance yet, what are the advantages to joining as a member?
Absolutely. So I come to the world of the Cultural Alliance from running nonprofit organizations. So as we were approaching different benefits that we can offer to our members, I was thinking, as an arts organization, what would I benefit from?
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of individual artists, the things that we realized as we were interviewing potential members and our artists is, what is that we can provide for you that would benefit you the most? And there were 4 things that were identified. Lack of exhibition space. We have lots of artists and not so many spaces and venues to really exhibit their talent. So we've been collaborating and partnering up with tons of various businesses and institutions and organizations to be able to provide exhibition space for artists. So for instance, we recently opened a gallery here in Fort Pierce, downtown Fort Pierce, where artists can be exhibited. We are putting art in public spaces, such as admin buildings and courthouses. We are working with other businesses such as Chamber to present artists and opportunities to sell their work at their information centers. And as we get bigger and stronger, we continue to identify other locations for artists to exhibit. We're going to be collaborating with churches to provide opportunities for performing arts to have a stage to be seen on, and universities and colleges. So that's one of the things, how we address the lack of venue as we're looking for a more permanent solution. And of course, Mid-Florida Event Center has been an enormous partner of ours. So we were able to showcase all disciplines of our artists with their support. The next thing that the artists indicated to us is that they needed to be known about. So what do we do to really bring the awareness to our county? We've been doing a lot of social media exposure for individual artists. We recently published a beautiful magazine that we've done with Martin County. So on one side of the magazine, you have all information by Martin County artists. You flip the magazine over and it's all about St. Lucie County. And we're going to be working together with Martin County to make sure that all of our artists are known throughout the Treasure Coast. So that kind of collaboration that we're putting in place is also very important for our members. The following thing was in terms of funding. And that's why this festival is so important, because our artists need to be supported financially. Mm-hmm. And we want to make sure that St. Lucie Cultural Alliance presents opportunities for our artists to be able to be granted and funded. So we have allocated some funds already that we're going to be giving out this summer, and also putting mechanisms in place to make it sustainable. So the more events like this we have throughout the year, the more funds we'll be able to grant.
To do that in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the 4th was professional development. How do we become better business people and better artists? So just recently we had a workshop for our artists where we invited the representative from the state to talk about their state grants. The next one is going to address the need of how do you actually apply for public art projects? What kind of documentation do you need, and what kind of information do you need to be successful in that process? And as more information we get from our members, the more programs like that we're going to be developing. So for instance, the next thing that we're going to be doing is working with our organizations to work with them on their board of directors. So we're going to have a training for business people to be aware of what it takes to be a good board member, how funding is critical, that it's not just coming to meetings and listening to a sound of your own voice, but really supporting the organization, and then match the board members with organizations. And again, we're here to serve our artists, not the other way around. And we make that very, very clear to our artists, and we want to hear from them and learn from them.
It sounds like all of the things that you're doing involve matchmaking. And I love that, that you are taking artists and helping them find venues. You are connecting the public to the artists. You are connecting them to the funding and then professional development. I can't speak enough about training board members and volunteers.
Absolutely.
A nonprofit organization runs on a very tight margin, and you can't do it all.
Mhm.
And if you have people who help to carry your message, that's golden. That's absolutely golden.
And we're working with the chamber to develop that program. So we're working with a natural partner who's got the businesses and the business leaders to be able to teach them of how we can help the artists.
Will you also do some type of matchmaking in introducing new board people who may be potential new board members to the nonprofits?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's one of the major components of the entire program is once they go through the program, they're going to identify what their interests are. And then we're going to get to the nonprofits to tell us what their needs are.
That's
and then
awesome.
We'll match them up.
And the connections are, as I said, they're golden. And then, here, this event that's coming up on May 22nd and May 23rd at the Mid-Florida Event Center, you're making the connections too, because you are, for those who haven't already made that connection, connecting art to mindfulness and showing the importance of one with the other. So Dina, let me throw it to you again. When you're not being a part of something like this Arts and Mindfulness Festival, what does a certified sound practitioner do?
Well, a combination of things. I create sound bath. We could say sound meditation. You can call it sound therapy. And the only difference, it's all very synonymous. It's synonymous. The only difference is you do privates, you can do semi-private sessions, group sessions, and you can do virtual sessions. And sound has been used for thousands of years to, what I was saying to you, transform your energy, transform your state of mind, allow you to restore yourself. They call it sound healing, but actually your body does the healing. I am the facilitator. So when you get to that space of rest and restore and you're calm, that's when your body can restore itself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Whatever it needs, it will attract the sounds to resonate and to balance itself to its natural state. Sounds like a lot, but you know what, Sue Ellen, you have to experience. I can speak about it all day long, tell you the science, but the experience speaks for itself.
And and people are going to get an opportunity to experience that at the Art and Mindfulness Festival. So can you speak to the whole white sounds to calm down, to sleep, ocean?
Yes.
Obviously your cat has something to say in the matter too.
The cat's fur heals the bones. It's about at 50 hertz. Speaking about the ocean and the white noise, they're called incomplete frequencies. And you don't know, but what they do is they shake things out of you. Naturally, when you spend half a day at the beach, you come back rested and you're like, wow, this is amazing. It's so healing. The waves have done the work with the wind, and they're called incomplete frequencies. They're made to shake things out of you. And the body needs releasing. We absorb media, we absorb work, we absorb a conversation, we absorb a radio station, blah, blah, blah. All this enters our mind, our body. The release, we need some release, or else you're going to explode. You're going to implode. So all these opportunities, like you said, the white noise, you wouldn't think, but it has its purpose. The ocean has its purpose. It's nature. Incomplete frequency, if you want the science behind it, but yes. And it helps you release the stress, the body aches, the mental stress, and then you can restore rational. You can become rational again, because when you're in fear, you can't make the right decision. You're high up there, and all you're doing is running for your life constantly. So you can't create and survive at the same time. So for a creator, which is an art or my sound, you have to be aware that you're safe, that your surroundings are not coming to eat you up. The tiger's not coming after you. And now this country, all over the world, we've been living like a tiger's coming to get us. It's time to release now. It's time to allow nature, your body, release the fear. Just be with what God has created. Fresh air, nature, walk, breathe, release, and allow your body to heal itself.
Aliana, is there going to be any charge for people to come in to the festival on Saturday and Sunday?
Absolutely not. So the event is free, and we're going to have lots of goodies. We have a couple of food trucks there as well, some adult beverages and not. So it's for the family friendly and very unusual. That's what we love the most about this festival, is it's a little different.
So, and it's funny that you mentioned that it's different. So where'd you get the idea to do this type of pairing?
Actually, it was in conversation with Dina. We were talking about this festival, and somehow mindfulness came around, and we're like, wait a minute, that's a perfect marriage, isn't it?
You know, it clicked when you were at the garden, botanical garden. We were introduced by my significant other who knew Eliana in a previous job opportunity she had, and it clicked. She says, I want to talk to you about something. And then it just organically flowed into this. It was yes, 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 and it was easy. So it unfolded to this fantastic fest.
Yeah, because initially I was just thinking about doing a Treasure Coast art fair.
Yeah.
And we've had a couple of those.
Yes, we have.
It's
not different.
Exactly.
It's wonderful, but adding the mindfulness component switches it up. And, you know, if it's not something that people have ever seen together before, you have the opportunity to come and stop by at the Mid Florida Event Center on May 22nd and 23rd. To get a peek, or you might end up staying the whole day and coming back the next day too.
And we also want to hear from people who come to the event of what else they would like to see. We are going to grow this festival. I think the idea is so unique and distinctly different that there's a huge audience for that. And we want to see that audience grow. And we want to have people come from throughout the country to experience this magic. Because we've talked to lots of artists who said, no, we have fairs here before, and lots of mindfulness folks who said we have mindfulness fests as well. But combining those two is what makes it so cool.
Unique. Unique.
Thinking about those artists and the different types of artists, I think that there have been a lot of closet artists that have come out over the last year, where they're spending a lot of time at home with their family or watching things virtually, or, you know, they had that together time. I know several women who have started painting, and it's not something that they'd ever done before, but they started doing it. Or maybe they're doing, I have another friend who started doing stained glass, but expressing themselves in an art form that is something new and different for them. Is this something that, you know, even if they're not displaying at your festival that this upcoming weekend, that they can make a connection with other artists?
Absolutely. And you mentioned earlier how this organization seems like a matchmaker almost, because different components and being tied together. The level of ideas that people can get by coming to an event like this and talking to other artists and talking to mindfulness professionals and well-being folks to get their ideas and get their creative juices, I think is priceless. And we strongly encourage everybody to come to understand, to learn something about themselves, about the environment that we live in, and about the community that we enjoy. So all of those pieces come together. Behind you, you have the sign saying, believe all things are possible. That's mindfulness. There's so much in this world around us that encourages us to become better people, better human beings, and to enjoy our world so much more, that all of those components are going to be very exciting for people to learn.
Even people who aren't really terrific at a certain type of art, or maybe singing or dancing or any of that, just the expression of artistry, the being able to express themselves through art adds a whole new element to what they're feeling. You know, Dina, you were talking about the release of stress, but in addition, art, either performing or creating art, also release stress.
Totally. You know, when you practice mindfulness, it's the art of creating space for yourself, you know, space to think, space to breathe, and space between, you know, our reaction, where you don't have to react so quickly. You can gracefully speak of something. It calms you. It just, I believe, makes you more gentle and accepting, and develops your compassion and your heartfelt, you know that one thing is that love is the highest vibration that exists. The rose is the highest vibrational flower. So if you stay in your heart, you stay elevated. And no matter what goes around you, you're not as quickly disturbed by it, and you're not quickly as to react to all these little things that are around you. So you develop this resilience. And I believe that an artist is resilient because they're spending hours in front of a canvas, hours in ceramics, hours in sewing. I mean, that's mindfulness. And I can spend an hour playing sound and it feels like 3 minutes. I disappear. Something takes over me, and I believe it takes over the artist. And at that moment, you're connected. You're one with universe. You're one with the field. And it's just very powerful. And you never come out of it. You can practice staying in that vibration, but it's an art.
Aliana, you know, we talked about people who have been artists maybe all of their life and are just looking for a venue or a place to display. And we talked a little bit about artists that are just discovering their talents. But let's talk for just a few minutes about new types of art that people are discovering every day, whether it be sound type of performance, or whether it be some type of putting things together. And I know arts and crafts are different than the arts themselves, but at what point does putting things together become art?
Well, I think the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and everything that surrounds us can be beautiful and can be seen as art. One of the major initiatives that I'm going to start working on as soon as this festival is behind us for this year is the idea of recyclable art and using recyclable material to create art. There is no such thing as waste, that we can take whatever trash we want to use and perhaps make it beautiful again. And teaching our kids that recycling materials through art would be an important component while we're saving the environment. So in that regard, I think art is a way for us to feel whole, or more whole, right? So being able to express yourself through that form, I think is where art really blossoms.
And, you know, I love the fact that you said art is in the eye and beauty is in the eye of the beholder, because sometimes people who have been artists all their lives can be a little, I don't want to use the word snobby. I don't know the correct word to use for people who are experimenting with other types of mediums. And to be accepting, and you are, I mean, how much better a person as executive director to have for a cultural alliance than somebody who is so open-minded.
Thank you.
So
I want to give an example based on what you just said. We had an artist who recently dropped off a painting and said, I'm just starting out. I'm not sure if this is professional enough or if this is acceptable enough. And we have pieces exhibited from most of our members in our gallery here in Fort Pierce. And very shortly after that, this woman came in and said, "Oh my God, I just love this piece. I have to have it." To her, it wasn't the fact that she had no idea this was not an artist that had been painting her entire life, but she just fell in love with the piece. And that's what makes art so meaningful. It's what it says to you personally.
Well, talking about the fact that we have already so much culture and art in St. Lucie County and on the Treasure Coast, that people in the business community may not be aware of. I love your partnership with the Chamber of Commerce too, to get information out, because you want people like the builders and the real estate professionals who are seeing people who are visiting the Treasure Coast in St. Lucie County for the first time to be aware that, you know, it isn't just a who has the best housing and who has the best schools. Culture and art is an important part of our growth. And sometimes people and businesses that are relocating are looking for that component.
It's the quality of life. That's what art does. It improves the quality of life.
I believe that, oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I just believe that this Art and Mindfulness Fest, it offers an opportunity to explore, you know, the different modalities and find your local provider. You know, these are local providers. Sometimes they're all online, but you can't, it's not tangible. And it helps people discover and embrace new ways of managing their lives. I believe that community is immunity.
Ooh, I like that.
I do too.
Beautiful.
So, Aliana, if people want to find out more information about the St. Lucie Cultural Alliance, or they want to see a listing of the members and the members' benefits, or they want to sign up as a member, how do they do that?
Our website is the best source of information that we have, and that site is artstlucie.org, artstlucie.org. The art is singular. And then we also have information on Facebook and other social media. But we are so committed to making sure that our members and arts organizations and individual artists get as much exposure as possible. When we were printing our magazine, for instance, we had an image or photograph of most of our artists, not all of our artists, with their contact information. So that's going to be going throughout the Treasure Coast. And I also, speaking of the magazine, I also want to mention that in there we put a story on why buy art, why it's important to buy original pieces of art instead of going to a box store and buying typical, what, and what it brings to you as an individual, to our community, and working with developers to make sure that as they build new homes, that they think about bringing new art, original art, local art into their developments as well, among other businesses. But yeah, our website, artstlucie.org.
artstlucie.org. And, it is important. And I am one of those people who did learn an important lesson from going to art festivals about how artists react when you go and say, I need something that's blue and green to match my living room. Because it's not always about the matching a color as it is to matching a feeling. Did I say that right, Dina?
I like it. Yes, I like it. And I feel that when you're buying a piece of art, you're not only buying, you're buying the struggle of that artist. You're buying his emotion, his or her emotion. You're buying the failures, the successes, the frustration and the love, all combined in that piece of art of years of experience, of trial and error.
That's why it's so neat to go to art festivals to begin with, is to be able to meet the artists and connect with them and see not just what you're buying, but who you're buying.
That's right. I like that.
So Aliana, the Art and Mindfulness Festival, this is just the first annual. You're planning on growing.
Yep.
And
We started pretty late in the game, considering the fact that we had no idea where the pandemic was going to take us. So this event is going to grow exponentially. There's no question about it. We're talking about for next year bringing different speakers in, doing workshops for visual artists, and doing so much more in terms of combining those two components together. This is also our testing ground. We want to hear from our patrons who come to the festival of what else they would like to see there, and hear from our artists to see what are the components we can add to make their interests more blossom better. So it's interesting. I think it's going to really be very different and unique and creative and unusual, and those good things.
Again, that's 10 to 5 on May 22nd and May 23rd. That's Saturday and Sunday of next weekend. And you can get more information by going to St. Lucie Cultural Alliance website, artstlucie.org, or to any of your social media, your Facebook page. The festival is going to feature one of the first pairings the first pairing on the Treasure Coast of art and mindfulness. And I am excited to see how they combine together. And also, I can't wait to see how St. Lucie Cultural Alliance has also, as they develop their partnership with the Chamber and the business community and other nonprofits. A lot of, sometimes when people are raising funds for nonprofit organizations, they're thinking about the nonprofit organizations that feed you and house you, and those certainly are very important, but feeding your soul and decorating the area around you, and creating art and discovering art is certainly an important nonprofit as well. So, and people want to get more information about the St. Lucie Cultural Alliance. Again, they can go to the website. And Adina, if people want to get, I'm waving, I see you. If people want to get information on mindfulness, how do they find out more information from you?
Yeah, well, my website is under construction, but they can find me on Facebook with my first and last name, DEENA, RAHILL, and also my YouTube channel. And on Facebook, there's a phone number. They can reach me. I create monthly events. I also offer, like I say, private, semi-private. I can go to homes, I can go to events. And Facebook is the best way right now. My number's on there, YouTube. And
so people can reach you, or they can just come out on Saturday and Sunday
and meet me there in person. Yes, because I'll be helping everywhere. I'll be the one walking around everywhere, and then on stage at one point with Lisa.
Yes, and Aliana, you'll be there with your artists and performances, and the partnership with Oxbow Eco Center. So don't leave the kids at home. This is definitely the type of event that you want to bring them to, because you're never too young to learn to appreciate art and mindfulness and figure out how to create things that your whole family can enjoy. Is there anything else you want to add?
I want to say thank you very much to our partners, Mid-Florida Event Center, who would not be able to do this without their support and their vision, and the city of Port St. Lucie, and the county, of course, of St. Lucie County, but enormous gratitude to our partners at Mid-Florida Event Center.
The Mid-Florida Event Center and the city of Port St. Lucie have just been so supportive of the arts, and they're doing a lot of arts in public places. As a matter of fact, I remember recently seeing them put out to bid for artists to paint a mural on the side of one of the park buildings, was it? Do you remember seeing that?
They're doing a lot of phenomenal work in terms of both public work and murals and beautifying the city. And as is Fort Pierce, I mean, this entire county is really exploding. It's beautiful to be
And there are different opportunities to view art in downtown Fort Pierce, which is still a mecca of, between the Bacchus Museum and opportunities to see art as part of the businesses in downtown. You could get all that information by going to your website as well.
Correct.
So,
Sorry, Sue Ellen, real quick. I forgot to mention, I hold my sessions at the Elliott Museum in Stewart. Just so you know, that's another way to find me.
another Treasure Coast connection there.
Absolutely.
Dina Rahill has been my guest, and she is a certified sound practitioner who's going to be part of the Art and Mindfulness Festival. And Aliana Ash, the executive director of the St. Lucie Cultural Alliance. Thank you both so much for joining me today. We look to see you at the Arts and Mindfulness Festival at Mid-Florida Event Center on Saturday and Sunday, May 22nd and May 23rd. Thanks very much.
Having us.
Thank you,
Thank
Sue Ellen.
you for having us. Bye.
Look for archives of the Sue Ellen Sanders Show on YouTube under WPSL TV. This is WPSL Port St. Lucie.